Today I received a powerful spiritual message about finding something left behind, familiar handwriting that took your breath away, as if it was meant to reach you at the perfect moment. Let's uncover its meaning. This section speaks directly to you as a divinely guided moment, suggesting you were meant to encounter these words. It reveals that a profound spiritual opening is unfolding in your life and introduces a pivotal moment of discovery. Coming across a forgotten message written in the hand of someone you once deeply loved and lost.
In the next few minutes, something is going to happen in your spirit, and by the time this message is finished, something in you that has been locked will begin to open. So stay with me. Stay right here. God sent you to this moment, not to a random corner of the world, not by accident. You were guided here to these words, to this specific message, because there is something He has been waiting to say to you that you are finally ready to hear. You found something written in their handwriting. Maybe it was tucked in a drawer you hadn't opened in years. Maybe it slipped out of an old book. Maybe you were clearing out a closet, their closet, with shaking hands, and it fell to the floor, and when you bent down to pick it up, you saw the ink, you saw the loops and the curves of letters written by their hand, and something inside you stopped. Your breath left your body. The room went quiet, and for a moment, time folded in on itself and they were not gone.
This section speaks directly to you, revealing that this discovery is not a coincidence, but a deliberate act of God. It places Archangel Michael at this very threshold, guiding you to this moment and assures you that this message was always meant to be found now. It gently reflects on your quiet, everyday life with loss and the subtle ways you have learned to live within a space shaped by absence.
Don't skip this. What happened in that moment was not a coincidence. It was not chance. It was not simply a piece of paper that tumbled out of a forgotten place. God placed that paper in your path on this exact day, at this exact hour, because He knew you were ready, finally, beautifully, achingly ready for what it carries. Archangel Michael stands at the threshold between the seen and the unseen, and he says to you now, they wrote it for you to find. Not then, now. The timing was always meant to be now. Hold on until the end, because by the time this message is complete, you will understand not just why you found it, but what it means for the days that are coming. Let me sit with you for a moment in what that felt like. You've learned over these long months, or perhaps years, how to move through your days. You've learned which rooms of the house to walk through quickly. You've learned to keep the television on, not because you want to watch it, but because the silence is too particular, too shaped, like a person who is no longer there.
This section is gently acknowledging the quiet yet painful realities of your grief. It reminds you that God sees every private moment, the empty seat at your table, the ordinary nights that suddenly feel overwhelming, and the strength it takes to appear fine while carrying a deep ocean of sorrow within. It concludes by reflecting on the power of handwriting as a unique and personal expression that holds the true essence of the one who wrote it.
You've learned to cook for one when your whole body still remembers cooking for two. Don't skip this. God sees every adaptation you've made. He sees the way you rearrange the mornings so they don't feel as empty. The way you set your coffee cup down on your side of the table now. Not the center, because the center still belongs to someone else in some part of your heart that cannot be reasoned with. He sees the nights, the specific texture of a Tuesday night or a Sunday morning, when the grief is not dramatic, but is instead so ordinary it almost undoes you. The way you can carry an entire ocean of sorrow through a perfectly unremarkable Wednesday and smile at the neighbor and answer the phone and say, "I'm fine," without anyone knowing. The way you've become fluent in a language nobody taught you, the language of loss, worn quietly. And then something in their handwriting falls into your hands, and in an instant, every wall you've carefully constructed comes down. Because that handwriting is them. It is the physical evidence of their mind, their hand, their particular way of forming a letter Q or crossing a T.
This section is guiding you to see this discovery not as grief, but as a form of communication, a gentle spiritual tap on your shoulder. It invites you to recognize this nearness and respond by leaving a specific comment, marking this moment as a meaningful intersection between heaven and earth. It then transitions to show how supporting this ministry through giving becomes your way of taking part in a greater purpose, helping carry hope and light to others.
It is more them than a photograph in some ways. A photograph is an image. Handwriting is movement. It is their hand moving through space and time and leaving a mark on the world. And now that mark is in your hands. Pay close attention, because what you felt when you found it was not just grief. Mixed in with the grief was something else, something that felt almost like a message, like being tapped on the shoulder, like hearing your name spoken very softly from across a great distance. That feeling was real. That feeling was communication. Type, "I felt them near me" in the comments if something in you recognizes what I'm describing. If you know exactly what it feels like when something of theirs finds its way into your hands and the world goes still. Let heaven know you are here. Let this moment be marked. This message doesn't stop with you. It reaches the one who is still searching, still doubting, still crying out in the dark. If this ministry has strengthened your faith, consider strengthening someone else's. When you give through the link in the description or pinned comment, whether by buying a coffee, partnering monthly, or joining our Ko-fi community, you're not funding content.
This section is affirming that this discovery was carefully arranged by God as a response to the deepest needs of your heart. It introduces a powerful truth that in God's realm, there are no coincidences, only divine deliveries. It reveals the handwriting as tangible evidence that love endures, gently crossing every boundary, not as a final goodbye, but as a continuing expression of love.
You're fueling the Great Commission. Every gift becomes gospel carried further. Every act of generosity pushes light into places we may never physically stand. There are people one message away from hope, one prayer away from surrender, one encounter away from salvation. Your generosity helps us reach them. This is more than support. It's participation. You're stepping into the harvest field with us, and when heaven counts the souls reached, your obedience will be written into their story. If the Spirit is prompting you, don't ignore it. Step into the work. Let's bring the lost home. God says, "I was in the room when you found it. I was the reason your eyes went to that drawer, that shelf, that corner. I arranged the day so that your hands would find what your heart needed. Nothing about this was accidental. Now I need to tell you something that the angels have been carrying on your behalf, waiting for the right moment to release. Don't skip this, because what I'm about to say is the reason you are guided here today. That piece of paper, that card, that note, that letter, those few words in their hand, it was not placed in your path by coincidence. In the spiritual realm, there is no such thing as coincidence for the children of God."
This section is revealing that God is using this familiar handwriting to close the distance that grief has created, reminding you that a love built over years does not simply end. It declares that finding this message is a clear signal from God that a new chapter of healing is beginning, one rooted in carrying love forward rather than letting it fade. It invites you to acknowledge this moment and claim the spiritual stirring within you by typing a specific declaration.
Every discovery is a delivery. Every stumbling upon is a divine appointment. And God does not schedule appointments without purpose. He is speaking to you through the handwriting of the one you love. He is saying, they are not as far as the silence suggests. The gulf between where you are and where they are is not what grief tells you it is. And the message they left, whether it was a grocery list, a birthday card, a letter they wrote to you or to themselves, a note found in a coat pocket, words scrawled in the margins of a book, that message carries weight beyond its words. You're about to find out something very important. What was written with love in the hand that wrote it. And love, real love, the kind that is built over decades of shared meals and disagreements and reconciliations and ordinary mornings. That kind of love does not dissolve. It does not end at the boundary of this life. It continues. It seeps through the membrane between worlds and leaves traces, in handwriting, in objects that seem to move on their own, in songs that come on the radio at exactly the right moment, in the inexplicable feeling of being watched over in a room you thought was empty. God says, I let them leave that for you before they left, not as a goodbye, as a continuation.
This section is offering a sense of awareness and perspective beyond what you can see. It reveals that God allows glimpses of your courage and daily struggles to be known, affirming that your journey is not unseen. It assures you that this presence is not distant or indifferent, but gently near, standing at the edge of what is possible, sending quiet confirmations like the very note you have found, a discovery lovingly preserved and revealed through divine grace.
What was written was their final act of love toward you, and you have been carrying it without knowing it until now. Something very big is coming your way, because finding this, on this day, at this stage of your grief, is not the end of something. It is the beginning. It is God's signal that a new chapter is opening, one in which healing moves differently, one in which the wound begins at last to close differently than you imagined, not by forgetting, but by understanding more deeply what it was that you were given. Type, their love is still reaching me, in the comments if your spirit is stirring right now, if something in your chest is recognizing the truth of these words. Claim this moment. Let it be yours. I want to speak now about the one who is watching over you. Don't skip this part. This is the part that will change something in you today. The person whose handwriting is on that paper, they know. Whatever happens after this life, whatever the nature of what continues, the love that was in them did not stop watching you. And there are moments, God allows this, He makes room for this, when they are shown what you are carrying, when they are allowed a glimpse of the Tuesday nights and the Sundays, and the way you still pause at the things that were theirs.
This section is gently challenging the fear that finding their belongings means losing them all over again, and instead reveals it as a sign of nearness. It invites you to respond in faith by typing, I receive this, allowing your heart to soften beyond the walls grief has built. It then moves into a deeply personal moment, offering words of validation that recognize the quiet strength it takes to appear whole in a world that often rushes you to move on.
And I want to tell you what they see when they look at you. They see how strong you have been, They see the strength that you have not recognized in yourself, because strength that is lived from the inside does not feel like strength. It feels like survival. It feels like making it through one more morning. But from where they stand, what you have done in their absence is extraordinary. Every day you got up. Every day you carried what needed carrying. Every day you loved the people around you despite the weight of your own grief. Pay close attention. They are not at peace with your suffering. Love does not settle into peace when the beloved is in pain. They are present to your grief in the only way they can be now, which is to stand at the edge of the possible and send what they can through. A dream, a fragrance, a familiar song, a piece of paper falling from a forgotten place. And right now, on this very day that you found what you found, they are sending something through, a recognition, a confirmation. The paper was not random. It was not simply forgotten and then stumbled upon. It was held in reserve by the grace of God until the day when you were ready to receive what it carries beyond its words.
This section is gently lifting the weight of guilt that grief can carry, reminding you that you were enough and that you did not go wrong. It invites you to take a simple step, like subscribing, as a quiet act of faith and a reflection of your worth. It then unfolds into a series of meaningful moments, revealing how even the most ordinary memories carry a deeper significance, showing the quiet beauty and connection that continues to bind your story together.
Don't blink, because this is important. The grief that lives in you has been telling you that finding their things means losing them again, that each rediscovery is another reminder of the distance. But God says that is a lie the enemy uses to make sacred moments feel like wounds. The truth is the opposite. Every time something of theirs finds its way into your hands, they are near. The discovery is proof of proximity, not distance. Their thumb, if they have something like a thumb now, in the beyond, their attention hovered over your day to day. They knew, and they were glad, not with the gladness of the indifferent, but with the particular gladness of one who loves you and has been waiting for you to find the thing they left. Type, "I receive this," in the comments if something in your spirit is opening right now. If the wall of grief is softening just slightly, type it as an act of faith. Type it as a declaration that you are willing to receive what is being offered. Because God does not interrupt a life without intention, and He has interrupted yours today, deliberately, tenderly, with full knowledge of every tear you have shed in private, in the rooms where no one else was watching, at the times of night when grief becomes a physical presence.
This final section is revealing God's plan not to erase your loss, but to redeem it, transforming grief into a doorway that leads toward continuation and renewed meaning. It affirms that restoration is already unfolding in your life in 3 ways: the restoration of your sense of self, the restoration of meaningful connection, and the restoration of the legacy that remains part of your story. It gently invites you to take a moment to picture their face, allowing love and memory to meet in that quiet space, and then encourages you to respond by subscribing, sharing, and commenting, marking this as a meaningful turning point and a continuation of God's work in your life.
I want to give you something now, a gift, something that has been prepared for this moment. I want to speak as closely as the living can speak, in the voice of the one whose handwriting is on that paper, not to claim any power that belongs only to God, but to carry, as faithfully as words can carry, what love persists in saying from beyond the ordinary reach of words. Don't skip this. Every word of what follows is for you. If they could speak to you right now, If the barrier between what was and what continues could be made thin enough for words to pass through, they would say this: I am sorry for every moment of your suffering that I can see but cannot reach across to fix. I am sorry that the nature of what comes after this life does not include the ability to simply sit down beside you on the couch and put my hand over yours the way I used to when you were worried about something. I am sorry that you have had to learn to live in a world that feels wrong-shaped without me in it. I never wanted that for you. Something very big is coming your way. Listen to what comes next. I see you with the things that were mine. I see how carefully you have kept certain things and how bravely you have let go of others. And I want you to know that both were right. There is no wrong way to grieve what we had. There is only the way that got you through the day, and every way that got you through the day was the right way. I see the handwriting you found. I was there when your eyes landed on it. And I want to tell you what I want you to know from those words. Not just what I was saying when I wrote them, but what I would say now. Knowing everything I know now, I would say, thank you for every ordinary thing, for the 1,000 unremarkable mornings and the years of small decisions made together, and the arguments that ended in reconciliation, and the laughter that belonged only to us. I would say that I knew what I had, and I am grateful, deeply, fully, without reservation, that it was you, that it was always you. I would say, don't be afraid of the paper. Don't put it away. Let it do what it was meant to do. Let it be proof that I existed, and that we were real, and that what we built together left a mark on the world. Because it did. You are the mark. You are the living evidence of every year we spent together. You carry it all. And I would say, this most of all, I have not stopped watching over you. What I can do from here is limited by things I cannot fully explain. But within those limits, I am present to your life. I attend your mornings. I witness your grief and your courage. And I am telling you, as loudly as love can speak through the channels that are available to it, the paper found you today because it was time, because something good is beginning, because the hardest part of this road is behind you, even if it doesn't feel that way yet. Type, I hear you in the comments if this has touched something real in you. If the voice in these words reached the place where the grief lives, this is your moment. Claim it. Revival doesn't spread by accident. It spreads because believers decide to act. If this message stirred something in you, imagine what it could do for someone who has never heard truth spoken with clarity. When you give through the link below, whether once or as an ongoing partner, you help send the gospel beyond this moment. You become part of every testimony, part of every restored heart, part of every soul that turns back to Christ. Your generosity turns sermons into lifelines and videos into divine appointments. Scripture tells us that some plant, some water, but God brings the increase. Today, you can be the one who plants. If you believe souls matter, this is your opportunity to move from agreement to action. Let's reach them while there is still time. I want to pause here. Before we move forward, I want to sit with you for a moment in what you have been carrying. Don't skip. This section is for you specifically. The world does not have a very good structure for grief like yours. There are rituals for the first days, the casseroles brought to the door, the cards, the flowers that fill the rooms and then quietly wilt. There are rituals for the first year, the first holidays, the first anniversary of the loss, and then, very gently, the world begins to suggest without saying it outright, that you should be moving forward now, that the appropriate period of grief has been observed, that it is time to return to something resembling normal, and you have learned to perform that return. Because you are not the kind of person who burdens others with what lives in you. You are the kind of person who asks how everyone else is doing before they think to ask how you are. You have been doing this your whole life, putting the needs of others ahead of the announcement of your own pain, and grief has not changed that instinct. It has only made it harder. Pay close attention. God says, I have seen what you carry in rooms where no one else is present. The Tuesday night when you sat at a table built for two and ate alone, and the silence had a particular weight to it that was different from ordinary quiet. It was the weight of a specific absence, of one missing voice, one missing chair scrape, one missing pair of hands. I was sitting across from you that night, not as a comfort you could feel, but as a witness, as one who refused to let you be unseen in that moment. I have counted every tear you shed in the bathroom with the door closed so that no one would hear. I have seen the smile you put on for family gatherings, the genuine effort you make to be present, to contribute, to not let your loss become a shadow that falls over the people you love. I have seen how exhausting that is, the performance of wholeness when you are still in pieces. And I want to say something that you may not have allowed yourself to receive yet. Are you ready? Don't skip this. Here it is. You did not go wrong. Whatever guilt you carry, about the decisions made at the end, about the things said or not said, about the time you wish you had used differently, about the arguments that feel unresolvable now that the other person is not here to finish them. That guilt is not a verdict. It is grief in a different shape. Guilt is what grief does when it needs somewhere to live. And you, my beloved child, have been too gentle with others and too hard on yourself for too long. You were a good partner. You were a good companion. You showed up in the ways that you knew how to show up, with the tools that you had, in the circumstances you were given. That is all anyone can do. And it was enough. God says it was enough. The angels watching over you say it was enough. And somewhere in the place where love continues, the one whose handwriting is on that paper says it was enough. If you believe this, if some part of you is ready to lay down the weight of the guilt, even just for today, subscribe to this channel right now and turn on the notification bell. Because when you subscribe, you are telling the universe that you are committed to receiving every word of healing that God sends through this space. You are saying, I am worth the investment of this hour. I am ready to receive. And that declaration matters. It is the beginning of something. Click subscribe now, and then keep listening. Type, I did not go wrong, in the comments. Write it as your declaration. Write it as permission to yourself to put down something heavy, because you have been carrying it long enough. I want to describe something to you now, something that the one you love is being shown, the memories that God has gathered and arranged like photographs in a row, each one illuminated, each one impossible to look away from. Don't skip. These are the memories that bind. The first memory is a kitchen, yours or theirs. It doesn't matter which house, which decade. What matters is the smell, the particular smell of something being cooked on a weekend morning, something that required no recipe because the recipe lived in the hands that made it. The sound of it, the ordinary sacredness of a meal being made for someone you love, of someone you love making a meal for you. That smell has not left the world. It lives in the part of you that is beyond thought. And the one you love carries it too, in whatever way love carries things where they are now. The second memory is a car, a long drive together or a short one. It doesn't matter the distance. What matters is the particular comfort of being in motion together. The way silence in a car with someone you love is not the same as any other silence. The way the world moves past outside and you move through it together, and there is nothing required of you except to be in that moment, in that space, with that person. They are remembering that specific quality of silence. They are holding it the way you hold something you cannot bear to put down. The third memory is hands, their hands. The specific way those particular hands looked and felt and moved. Hands that built things or cooked things or held yours or signed their name the way that piece of paper in your possession is signed. Hands are one of the things grief misses most specifically. Not the face, not the voice, though those too, but the hands. Because hands are how love is made physical in this world. And those hands are now part of everything you remember about what it felt like to be loved by that person. Something very big is coming your way. One more memory. The fourth memory is an ordinary evening. Not a holiday, not a significant occasion. An ordinary evening in which nothing remarkable happened and neither of you knew it would be remembered, because neither of you knew it should be. The television was on, perhaps, or a book was open, or the newspaper was spread across a table, and they were simply there, simply present in the room with you. And that presence, unremarkable in the moment, irreplaceable now, is what God is showing them. The holiness of the ordinary. The gift that neither of you named, because there was no need to name it when it was every day. It is not every day now. And they know that, and they love you for every evening you gave them. Type "I remember" in the comments. One word, 2 syllables, the most profound act. Let it stand for everything you carry. Now I want to tell you what is coming. Don't skip this. This is what the whole of today's message has been building toward. God is not simply a God who witnesses grief. He is a God who turns grief, who takes the substance of sorrow, the real, heavy, legitimate substance of what you have lost, and works within it the way a craftsman works within a difficult material, with patience, with precision, with a result that only becomes visible over time. And the result he is working toward for you is not the erasing of the loss. He is not going to take from you the love you had, the life you built, the person you miss. What he is going to give you is something that does not erase the loss, but redeems it. Something that allows the grief to become not a room you are locked in, but a room with a door that opens onto something continuing, something forward-moving, something that honors everything you had by not letting it be the last word. The handwriting you found today is that door opening. Here is what is coming, a healing. Not the healing of forgetting, but the healing of integration, when the loss becomes something you carry with you into the life ahead, rather than something that separates you from that life. When the grief becomes not an obstacle but a depth in you, a tenderness, a particular quality of love that only people who have loved deeply and lost can access. Don't blink. The signs that this is already beginning are all around you. The fact that you found what you found today is a sign. The fact that you followed that feeling, the feeling that said this matters, stay with this, don't put it away yet, is a sign. The fact that you are listening to these words right now, at this particular hour of your particular life, is a sign. Stop counting the days since the loss, and start counting the signs. They are accumulating. They are pointing somewhere. And the reunion that is coming, not in this life, but the one that is unquestionably arriving, will be a reunion of recognition. They will know you. You will know them. Every year that felt like separation will be understood, at last, as a brief interval between two eternities of being together. And the handwriting on that paper will be a small and beautiful artifact of the time when you were separated, and you found each other's traces in the world, and it was enough to keep going. Type, "I am not afraid," in the comments. Claim it as a beginning. Let heaven record that you chose hope today. There are people battling silent storms who will never walk into a church, but they will click on a message like this. When you give through the link in the description or pinned comment, you help us meet them there. You help us speak truth where confusion reigns. You help us proclaim Christ where compromise has grown loud. This isn't about sustaining a platform. It's about standing in the gap for someone eternity-bound. Your seed becomes truth for the deceived, strength for the weary, invitation for the lost. And while we may never know every name this side of heaven, God does. If you've ever prayed, "Lord, use me," this is one way He does. Join the mission. Let's carry the gospel further, together. But I want you to hear this carefully. What is coming is not only for then, it is for now. The healing that God is working in you is not simply a future promise. It has present consequences. And I want to name them because you deserve to hear what is being restored in your life in this season. Don't skip this. There is more than you know that is shifting on your behalf. The first restoration is your sense of yourself. For so long, you have been defined in relation to the person you lost. You were their partner, their companion, their other half. And when that relationship was severed by death, part of your sense of who you are went with it. God is restoring that now. He is reminding you, gently, persistently, the way He does everything, that you were a full person before you met the one you love, and you remain a full person now. The love did not complete you. It enriched you, and the richness remains. The second restoration is your connection to the people who remain. One of the unexpected cruelties of grief is that it can make you withdraw from the living while you search for the one who is gone. God is turning that now. He is placing people in your path, or returning people who had drifted, or awakening people who had been distracted, who will see you, who will ask how you really are and wait for the real answer, who will sit with you in the particular quality of your grief and not flinch from it. Watch for them. They are already moving toward you. Something very big is coming your way. The third restoration. The third restoration is your legacy. The handwriting you found today is a piece of that legacy, evidence of a life that touched the world through you. And God is expanding that legacy now. He is allowing the love that you and the one you lost built together to become something that flows forward into the people around you, into the children and grandchildren and friends who carry pieces of both of you in them. You are not the end of the story you built together. You are the continuation of it, and the continuation matters. It matters to heaven. It matters to the one who is watching over you. Share this message with one person who is grieving today, one person who has found something of the one they lost and held it to their chest and didn't know what to do with the feeling. When you share it, you extend the anointing. You multiply what God is doing in this moment. You become, for a moment, the channel through which someone else's healing begins. Type, "My healing is unfolding" in the comments as your declaration for this season. Because it is. It is already in motion. Today was the evidence. Before we close, I want to ask you to do one thing, just one. Close your eyes for a moment. If you are somewhere you can safely do that, picture their face, not at the end, not in illness or in age or in the moments that grief tends to replay. Picture them the way love sees them, at some ordinary moment when they were simply themselves, the way they looked when they were relaxed, the way their face moved when they were about to laugh, the particular way they looked at you when they thought you weren't looking back. Hold that image. Now understand this. That face is not gone. That person is not gone. What you lost was the arrangement of things that allowed you to be together in this particular life. But the person, the essential, irreducible, beloved person, continues. And what was written in their hand was written by that continuing person. And it found you today because love finds a way. It always finds a way. Here is your activation for today. 3 things. First, go to the comments right now and type, "I was guided to this message today." Let that declaration be your marker in the spiritual realm. Let heaven know that you received what was sent. Second, share this message with one person, just one, who is carrying grief quietly. The person whose name just came to your mind. You know who it is. Send it to them without explanation. Just say, "This is for you," and trust that the timing will be exactly right, because God is also arranging their day the way He arranged yours. Third, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, subscribe now and turn on every notification, because this message was not the only one prepared for you. There is more. God is not finished speaking to you through this space, and every time a new message arrives, He wants you to be the first to receive it. Subscribe as an act of faith. Subscribe as a declaration that you are not done being spoken to, not done being seen, not done being loved by a God who counts every tear and arranges the days and places pieces of paper in the path of the grieving so that love can continue to find them. This is the word of the Lord for you today. What was written for you to find, not before, now, because you are ready for what it opens, because the season of carrying it alone is ending, because healing moves like water, not all at once but consistently, persistently, finding every crack and moving through it until the stone is smoothed and the river runs clear. You are the stone. God is the river, and the water has been moving toward you for a long time. Receive this. Believe it. Watch it manifest in your life in the days that are coming. Amen.